Let's talk about a couple of the classic Teddy Hart stories. Like I said, we don't know each other very well. We've been around places and crossed paths, but always heard there's two that stand out. And the one is it the cage match with the moonsaults and shooting stars?
Ring of Honor cage match.
Fill me in on that one. Because even if other people have heard it, I never have.
I was there for two things. Steve Carino was starting to shoot promos, and I guess for some reason he mentioned me. I hadn't seen him in years. I was in the WWE dojo with him, and he said Teddy Hart's a goof. And goof means, it's a bad word in Canada for gangsters. We were watching him on TV at a clubhouse, a biker clubhouse.
Wow.
And they said, you're going to let that guy talk shit about you? He called you a goof. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to let that happen. I said, I've never taken an indie booking. I'm going to call Ring of Honor right now and see if I can get booked. So I called Feinstein up, and I said, hey, it's Teddy Hart here. And he goes, I've heard a little bit about you. And I said, I'll fly myself up and my partner to have a match on your show. I said, but understand when I get to the building, I'm going to kick the shit out of Steve Carino. He says, why? I said, just wait and see. I said, I'm not the kind of guy that lies about shit. I said, if I say it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Mark my words. I said, so when I got there, he said, can you guys go to the ring? He had a little ring in Philly somewhere. Go to the ring and do some stuff. And I said, no, here's a DVD. So he watched the DVD, and after 5 minutes, he looked at the DVD, and he went, you're going to blow AJ Styles and Paul London and those guys out of the water with that new stuff. Because he had all those guys working for him already. And I said, well, that's up to you. You're the promoter. I said, what do you want to do with this? He goes, I'm going to put you in this big match. Then we're going to have you do this huge dive. So Gabe Cebulski, he gave me a really good spot where I was the last guy to go out and do a dive after my match. So it was a match, and it was real technical. He says, don't do anything off the top until the very end. Just do one move, which is not my style. I got to win an audience over. I want to do all my shit. He says, do not. I'm going to bring you back for 10 shows. I like you. I can make you a superstar. Let me be the guy that pushes you. So I said, awesome. This is going to be really cool. I'll do a backflip, double full twist to the floor. Never been done before. Ultimo Dragon's there watching. Oh. So he's watching, and I wanted him to. So I did it, and I hit it perfect, and the crowd went crazy. And it was the biggest pop of the whole night, and it was the last spot of the whole night. So Gabe let me be the big, because I trusted him.
Right.
He says, don't do anything else. So the next show, they're all hyped up about Teddy Hart. They see Jack Evans' video. They say, we want Jack Evans. Don't bring TJ next time. We'll bring TJ, Harry, Jack, and you, but we want to bring Jack this time. We'll do the scramble cage. We see these platforms on top of the ring that you built for mat rats. We're going to put them on top of the cage. So when guys say that we weren't supposed to do stuff off the cage, it's like, guys, they built platforms specifically for me to do stuff off the cage. It was the guys in the match that tried to cut the spots out. So when I got concussed, and this is my beef to Gabe cut the tape. I got thrown into the guardrail, and I took an upside-down bump into the guardrail, like a flipping turnbuckle, but into the guardrail. I didn't realize the guardrail wasn't going to give. I came straight back down on my head, and I knocked myself out. I don't remember anything. All I remember was the spots we were supposed to do, which was a shooting star press and a moonsault to the floor, which is the only two moves I did. They act like it was a big deal because after the show, not a lot of guys are going to do a standing moonsault from the top of the cage onto their feet as a salute. I did 4 of them. That's how good my knees were and how good my legs were.
You just kept going back up and doing that?
Because the fans wouldn't stop cheering. It was the first ever double moonsault. It was the first ever Phoenix Splash. You're talking about a 20-foot cage onto the cement floor. I'll show you the highlight video after this real quick so you can see and how crazy that building was going. And you tell me if I just go like this after and walk away. Or if you, Chris Jericho, would have sat in that ring and let those people, because I don't know if I'm ever coming back again, and I'm half knocked out. I don't remember anything. And I said, what have I lied? I bury myself all the time. I never needed to lie all these years to make an excuse up for anything. I said, it's me, I was an idiot, or it was me, I was lazy, or it was me, I did this because I wanted to, I didn't want to. I don't remember a thing. I don't remember anything. I went to the back. They said, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? I said, I don't remember anything. All I remember was doing some backflips at the end and the fans cheering my name. I said, I don't know who won the match. I don't know when the match started. I said, I've never had a concussion, and I'm puking the whole time. I'm throwing up because of the concussion all over the ring. So that was that with Rob. The Ring of Honor incident was simply Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, CM Punk, Christopher Daniels. Bryan Danielson wasn't that mad about it, but he was brought in on the group. They all made a little group, and they said, we won't work a promotion if they book Teddy Hart. We won't do this. CM Punk tries to go on and like, there's no conspiracy against Teddy Hart. No one cared about him. No, I said, I was a better wrestler than you were. There's no way, shape, or form that you could make his CM Punk argument. I'll go back in time any time and say, you put Teddy Hart on a piece of paper and CM Punk on a piece of paper, and you tell me who makes more money for WWE. Yet CM Punk is considered one of the top grossing guys in the history of the business. Somebody missed the ball with Teddy Hart. Then CM Punk, if you can make that much money off him, and he does nothing, really, he's a great wrestler, but he does nothing for innovation. He's done nothing for high spots that I've ever seen that are cool. He's done, really, for me, indie shows. He never did any indie shows. He just did the Ring of Honor, where they fed him superstar after superstar after superstar. Same with Samoa Joe. Same with AJ Styles. Did I ever say they weren't great wrestlers? No, but they weren't as good as Jack Evans. They weren't as good as Neville. They weren't as good as Samurai Del Sol. They weren't as good as El Generico. Not even close. They weren't as good as Paul London. Paul London was better than every one of those guys. Spanky, when he was clean, and Paul London were absolutely phenomenal in WWE, and they got no credit because Shawn, for whatever reason, didn't push his own guys. Those are his guys, you know.
Didn't you get into some kind of a fight with Punk, too, at one point?
I kicked the living shit out of Punk. Yeah, he's lucky that it wasn't. He's lucky Sabu's there. If Sabu wasn't there.
What was the story? I've only heard
CM Punk's the quote-unquote enforcer. And I'll tell Samoa Joe the same thing. Anytime, if you want to throw down, bro, if you think you're that tough because you're Samoan, I'll put a pair of gloves on and I'll do an MMA match, and I'd love to get paid to fight Samoa Joe in an MMA match or CM Punk if both those guys thought they were so tough. Then let's put up or shut up. But far cry, Joe's doing a great job in WWE now, but CM Punk and Joe, I told both those guys, if you guys think you're tough, walk up to me quickly and ask me to step outside, and I'll take off my shit, and I said, we'll go outside and fight. I said, they'll be the first, man, I said, you won't be the first fight I had. I've been punched in the face lots, bro, but I've never been knocked out in my life, and I still have all my teeth. So I said, do not say a word. I said, you're a pussy. Pull aparts is what you want. You want the big schmoz where you're going, you, and guys are grabbing you. I said, don't say a word, walk outside. Don't say a word. Because you can see him trying to make the stand in the restaurant and hoping some people see it so he can go. And I smiled at him. You don't smile at me. I said, if it's like that, don't say a word, walk outside. So I took off my shit, shook his hand, he slapped me across the face. Before he could put his hand down, because I'm pretty fast, and I train a lot of cops, I punched him in the face twice, and his instincts are to go for a double leg. If you're good, Kurt Angle showed me this.
He's demonstrating the moves that he's using here.
Double leg. First thing you do low is spin through and hook the guy's nose. So Sabu saw me grab CM Punk like that, and that was the end of the fight. It took 3 shots, so it was like a slap like this, and then boom, boom, and then he tried to go for a double leg, and he was already like this, and that was the end of the fight. I was going to rip CM Punk's nose off his face. Because it's a street fight. I'm a 185-pound guy. I'm in sandals and a bunch of jewelry and pajamas. If I don't make a statement, a real drastic one, when you call me out to fight, you know how many guys I'm going to have try to call me out to fight in the wrestling business?
Right, sure.
A lot. So my dad always said, if you're going to fight, run. If they corner you, climb the wall. But if you can't get out of the situation, rip the guy's nose off his head or rip the guy's eyes out of his head because you have no choice. And I'm the nicest guy in the world. I will never fight unless I am humiliated by a guy slapping me in the face after I try to shake his hand. I went outside. I said, dude, let's not do this. Shake my hand. It's cool. F*** you. I said, okay. I said, you want to shake my hand anyway? He thinks it's wrestling. You know what dumb wrestlers always do? And what happens when I shake your hand in wrestling?
Get punched.
Guys slap you. His instincts were of a wrestler. My instincts are of a street fighter. First thing I'm doing is I'm going to stick my fingers in your mouth. I'm going to stick my fingers in your eye. Kevin Nash and I were at a party in Calgary, and some moron decides to kick his chair out from underneath him while he's sitting. He's 7 feet tall in a stool like this. So they kick the chair out. Nash catches his balance, falls on top of the guy, and the guy and him start fighting. Nash does one move. And you hear the guy go, ah!
Finger to the eye.
Finger to the eye, and now you can hear Kevin Nash. The guy then tries to grab Kevin Nash's balls. Nash says, who do you think's going to pop first? My balls or your eye socket? And then the guy just let go. So Nash had the guy by the eye, and he picks him up, and then Nash is such a class act. He says to the guy, he's like, you're upset because I didn't sign your second autograph. You came to me, I signed one. Then you're going on about Ninja Turtles. The guy was like going on about different movies he was in, and he was bothering Kevin for turns out the guy's like a soccer player from Ireland. Real tough, crazy guy, and he won't let it go. And he's like demanding that Kevin Nash goes outside and fight him. And it's like this big brawl in the hotel. There's a couple bikers there. They don't want to get involved because they're wearing their shirts, their colors. So they're like, we don't want to get on camera in case the hotel camera gets us and something goes wrong. So Nash ends up basically talking to the guys, and they call the cops. When the cops come in, the guy charges at Kevin Nash. So I take a bottle and I bottle this guy right in the face. And this guy doesn't even move. He just walks right through it and keeps coming at me, and the cops get him from behind. And Kevin looks at me and goes, man, that was great aim. I said, yeah, but what if that guy had come after? I said, he's so high on something or so mad. I said, he walked right through that bottle. I said, fine, that would have been So Kevin goes, go get the guy out of the car. He's getting charged now. Kevin says, no, we're not charging him. I don't call the cops on anybody. He goes, shake my hand. He drags the guy out of the cop car, makes him shake hands with him, and throws away the paperwork. The guy still was mad after, but the guy left, shook his hand. Kevin Nash never called the cops on him after, but he poked him his story of just like how fast when a big guy who's got $1 million at his house and a beautiful wife and family is threatened, the first thing he does is goes for the eye. I'm threatened. It's my life. My livelihood is my reputation of being pretty tough and a guy that'll walk outside with anybody. Nobody wants to fight. CM Punk had a lot of balls. Big, huge balls, and he's been a great spokesman and a role model for the business after, and one of the hardest working guys I've ever heard of after. So I don't have anything bad to say, but I have to be honest about what happened, then put him over. Because after he became a guy I looked up to, I trusted, I respected, and what he did in the ring, again, I think I'm a better wrestler than CM Punk, but every guy thinks he's the best kind of thing. But it doesn't change all the great matches he had, and it doesn't change the effect he had on the impact he had on the business. He made it really cool for the fans to have that kind of guy. He was like the people's champion, and I believed when he was on the mic what he was saying, and I liked how he could shoot on Triple H. He had certain things he could say that no one else could really say, and I thought he had a lot of balls and charisma and a certain style of delivery that made him almost like you, where I always wanted to. I only watch wrestling most of the time when I know you're doing stuff, so I could hear your promos, just because that's what's so hard to me. The promos of remembering and how you and The Rock's gotten sloppy on his promos a little bit. He used to be so crazy. He could keep you going forever, where you're the only one. And I remember there was one you did with Faces, where you made the Chris Benoit, or you made the Benoit the Goat, and all the different guys.
Dr. Zeus poem, yeah.
That was you always had fun with it, but you always made it so serious when it needed to be. It was like you're a shooter, but you're also
Well, that's the secret of a promo. You have to be entertaining when it's time and be serious when it's time. Make people believe.